Have you ever experienced buyer's remorse? That feeling right after making a purchase when you think, oh my goodness, that might have been a real big mistake. That is exactly how I felt the first time I signed up for a dating app ever. Did I stay on the app? Did I delete it? Did I find my true love? Stay tuned to find out how the whole thing played out. Well, at least some of it. Hey, beautiful disaster. Yeah, you. Here's the deal. You don't need to have your life together to start taking it back. You are not too messy, too broken, too old, or too late to start over. This podcast is where we turn your chaos into clarity, your heartbreak into healing, and your mess into your magic. I'm Marilee Grace, and together we're rewriting the story loudly, boldly, and unapologetically. Buckle up, gorgeous. It's your time to rise. Hello and happy Friday. I am Marilee Grace, and you are listening to Okay, so here's the deal. A podcast designed to help you navigate an amazing life after leaving a high conflict personality relationship. Last week, we talked about dating after divorce, and I shared with you how I was encouraged to wait 18 to 24 months before dating. But I did a little bit of girl math, and that 18 to 24 months turned into about 8 to 9 months after I left, and less than 2 months after my divorce was final. Not a good idea at all. 100% do not recommend. I mean, I didn't want a relationship after all. So, wow, why did I do that? Buckle up, gorgeous. You are about to hear the rest of the story. Okay, so here's the deal. I had not been on a date for 30 years. I had no idea what I was doing. When I last dated, there were no cell phones, there were no dating apps. There was really no internet. I don't even remember, gosh, I don't remember if we had email. I uh, I really I don't think we did. So, I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to talk to men. The whole process, it was actually quite terrifying, if I'm being completely honest with you. At least in the early stages, it was. Then I got a little bit more comfortable, but oh my, in the beginning, terrifying. So why did I stick around so long? 15 months? Data. It became all about the data. I'd be out with my friends and we'd be talking, and I would say, you can't believe these dating apps. Seriously, I'm not making it up. And then I would tell them, I really should write a book about this. And then finally, I decided, you know what? I'm going to write a book about this. So that kind of created a shift in how I approached the apps because it became all about the data. What could I gather? How could I warn other women about some of the characters that I was finding on the apps? And with any good book, you do have to do the research. So I stayed on, I collected the data, I took the notes, and I wrote the book. Right Swipe, A Quest for Love was published and released on September 5th, 2023. Exactly 3 years to the day that I left. Not a coincidence. Today, I'm going to read a few parts from the book. I hope you enjoy. I do want to read a little bit from the introduction. It's a fairly quick read. I believe we are at 18 chapters, so it really is a quick read. Talking to men to get data. What an odd thing to do. It's all about the data. In the beginning, I made the mistake of being too open and trusting. I shared excessive information, thinking it would promote transparency. However, I quickly learned that most of the men I encountered were not genuinely interested in me. They turned out to be scammers, bots, or catfishers. In response, I adjusted my approach, engaging in conversations to expose lies and continue to gather data. I stand by this decision without apology. Over a span of 15 months, I connected with over 200 men on two different apps. There was a third app that I couldn't quite figure out, and a fourth that I briefly tried but found inconvenient. After analyzing all the data and conversations, I identified patterns and created categories, which became the basis for the chapters to this book. Some men fell into multiple categories, while others didn't fit into any category at all. Those who merely matched and delivered a generic greeting before disappearing will receive limited space, this single sentence, in this book. Similarly, some men I matched with didn't engage in conversation, but their profiles spoke volumes, providing sufficient data without further interaction. Among the men I encountered, a few individuals stood out and earned their own chapters. One such person, Hank, holds two chapters because of the significant amount of data gathered as a result of our peculiar situationship. An accurate description of my relationship with Hank remains elusive. Some considered it a relationship, but it's complicated is likely the most accurate description. Hank played a role in my post-divorce healing, revealing areas where I needed further growth. I'm grateful for the insights gained from our time together. I talk a little bit about the different names. Men, I found on one app, they might name themselves one thing. On another app, they might name themselves a different name. They might give themselves a girl name, which was always a little bit odd. I mean, I don't meet very many men named Monica. I also had to become familiar with acronyms and slang, and I wasn't up on any of the sexual slang. So I relied on my friend Mel to help me out, and she was a lifesaver. There were times, though, that I asked her questions and she gave me answers, and I went to Urban Dictionary anyway, especially when the answer was like, no, just do a left swipe. Don't worry about that one. And I'd go to Urban Dictionary and it was like, oh my, oh yeah, left swipe. Absolutely. You were right. I should have trusted you in the beginning. To navigate the realm of dating apps, I became a super sleuth, capable of identifying fake profiles based on location and occupation. Scammers and catfish despised being exposed. I also learned that WhatsApp and Hangouts were favored platforms for luring women away from the safety of tracked dating apps. These encrypted apps, typically safe for ordinary interactions, are a breeding ground for scammers communicating with unsuspecting individuals. Surprisingly, even men on humanitarian adventures in distant countries showed interest in me. How fortunate. Such valuable data. Both creepy old men and creepy young men crossed my path. My dating app friend, Dean, informed me that creepy old women and creepy young women were present in his queue as well. Creepiness seemed to be equal opportunity. Of course, there were those solely seeking casual encounters, openly mentioning it in their bios or initial messages. Curiosity compelled me to engage in conversations with some of them, asking questions that ultimately provided mutual understanding. Some men displayed cleverness and humor, which I genuinely appreciated. Others left me puzzled, scratching my head in confusion. I now possess a greater understanding of various kinks and preferences not interesting to a typical woman of my age. Foot fetishes appeared to be the most common. I also explored the realms of dom and sub dynamics, concluding that they weren't for me. Nonetheless, I had a candid conversation with the Dom who patiently answered my questions. I valued his authenticity. Amidst my varied experiences, I encountered genuinely kind men, the men who participated in conversations and didn't seem to have sex on the brain from the first hi. Those interested in brains instead of boobs existed, although they were relatively scarce. I'm going to skip to chapter 1, how it all began. I do have a quote from a friend of mine, Jennifer Grace. She said, if you are manifesting and expecting tall, dark, and handsome, what if short, chubby, and hilarious shows up and you overlook the love of your life because of expectations? Let go of the expectation of how it will look, but hold on to your clear intention. Chapter 1, Jumping Off a Cliff. The dating landscape has drastically transformed since my last dating experience in the late 80s and early 90s. The music of my youth is now deemed the oldies by my children, and the terminology surrounding dating has evolved in peculiar ways. In this chapter, we will explore the world of online dating and its impact on our lives. Dating in the digital age, a paradigm shift. Meet my first match, unexpected encounters in the online dating realm. I embarked on my online dating journey, eagerly awaiting the encounters and experiences that awaited me. Initially, most of the potential matches were left swipes for me. I had developed specific criteria for right swiping, with one deal breaker being facial hair. This criterion stemmed from my past experiences and aversion to any reminder of the husband. As it turns out, a significant number of men sport facial hair these days, keeping my left swiping finger quite busy. Among the many potential matches, my first noteworthy connection was with a man named Mike. Mike, 45. Mike, unlike many others, didn't have facial hair or hair on his head. Initially, I hadn't considered bald men an option. However, when Mike appeared in my queue and right swiped on me, I decided to reciprocate. Our conversations were rather bland and boring, lacking any major stimulation, but my fellow Susies from the online group had warned that conversations with normal men might come across as boring after years of being involved in high conflict situations. Our brains struggle to adjust to the idea of normalcy. Nevertheless, I engaged in the daily routine of exchanging good morning greetings, checking in midday, and asking about each other's day. It was safe, though not exactly exciting or interesting. This routine continued for several weeks despite the lack of excitement. It became a comforting presence in my life, even if it meant repeating the same three sentences every single day. Then something unexpected happened. One of my dogs passed away. Mike offered his condolences, showing a hint of compassion. He also shared that he had passed a significant work exam, and I congratulated him with a confetti emoji. It was a small shift from completely boring to slightly less boring. At that point, he asked for my number, and without hesitation, I provided it. I suggested meeting for coffee, as that seemed to be the norm in the realm of dating apps. Mike agreed, and we decided to meet after I returned from my vacation. Strangely enough, we hadn't engaged in video calls or phone conversations. Our interactions remained limited to text messages. It was July 2021. Mike was COVID cautious. He stated he had several friends who had COVID and he didn't want to sit inside a coffee shop for fear of exposure. How about we grab coffee and go to a park? Okay, sounds great. I asked when and what time of day, morning or afternoon. He asked if my day was free. Yes, it was. He suggested that after coffee and the park, we could then go to my place or his for the evening. Insert freak out emoji here. As I read his text, my brain was in freak out mode. I reread the text. Yes, he definitely stated, go back to your place or my place for the evening. My brain continued to freak out as I text back. I'm just getting back from vacation, and so my place is going to have vacation crap all over the place. Yours would be better. What I really meant was, I don't want you to know where I live. Not because I was just ashamed of where I live, but because I didn't want him to know my location. I immediately regretted pushing send. I didn't want to know where he lived either. I didn't want to go to his house, not after a first meeting over coffee, because really, is coffee a date? No, it's an interview to see if you want a first date. I quickly text Mel to ask for help. I filled her in on the situation. What the hell? I text with shaking hands. Going to his place or my place on date one? What the hell? She's instructed me, take a breath and just be open with him. I felt like I was going to pass out or puke, maybe both. During that time, Mike responded that his place would be great. Me. Okay, so awkward conversation to ensue, but I need to let you know that I'm a slow roller. Going back to your place will mean dinner and a movie on Netflix, nothing else. I don't kiss on the first date, and I definitely don't go beyond that on the first date. No Netflix and chill. That simple 5 sentence boundary poked the bear, and the bear woke up angry. Mike informed me he wasn't playing high school romance, innocence, and playing the wait forever game. That was fine for teenagers. He was a grown man and he did kiss on the first date and much more. And he expected it from his dates. He didn't have time to waste on naive and innocence. Holy sh- holy shit, I thought as I frantically text Mel the content of his text. What the hell? Teenagers like rabbits. He's a grown man expecting to get whatever he wants on date one. I pushed send and peered down at my glowing screen and the 3 dots that indicated Mel was responding with a solution. Just talk to him and explain where you're coming from, Mel encouraged. I hopped back into the text with Mike and explained I don't operate that way. And I asked, what do you expect on the first date? Do you expect sex on the first date? His quick response indicated that he definitely kissed on the first date and everything else is fair game except sex on the first date. I guess he had standards too. I was careful to be sure I was texting Mel, not wanting to text him by accident. I shared what Mike said and felt nauseous as I text. I can't do this. I can't do everything but sex on the first date with a man who only texts, good morning, how is your day going? What are you doing tonight? He doesn't even know me. Mel suggested maybe it was a misunderstanding. Just talk to him. Go on the date. Go for coffee. You don't have to go to his place. You have your safe word. You can text me, or I can be there in the parking lot. Go on the date. No, I can't do this. That doesn't feel safe, I replied. During this time, Mike texted more. Mike, I don't think we are a good match any longer. I do everything but sex on the first date, and I expect that from my matches as well. We are not in high school. We are adults. And I thought, seriously, dude, after 2 weeks of bland and boring text, you expect me to sleep with you? Me. You don't even know me, and you state you are COVID cautious, but you'd be willing to have me come to your house for everything but sex? I'm sorry. I'm not the right person for you. I hope you find a person who can fit your needs, but it isn't me. That was my first experience. Wow. Whew. Thing about Mike. Let me tell you a little bit about Mike. I found him on every app that I got on, and he also was posted in a group that there is somebody who has several different Facebook groups. Are we dating the same guy? And it's based off your location. So there's one for here in Kansas City. He was posted multiple times in that group. And I read what women posted. Pushy, want sex on the first date, arrogant, just all the things. I dodged a bullet on that one. I do in chapter 2, it's about how meeting Mike changed everything. I do list all the acronyms and terms that I encountered that had me going to my friend Mel or to Urban Dictionary. And so there's definitions of those. Things like casual. If they list casual, casual is like casual sex. It doesn't mean casual, we're going out, we're going to just enjoy each other's company, we're going to have a dinner, and then we're going to go home. No, we're going to go home together and we're going to have sex. That's what casual means, and not committed. There's friends with benefits, Netflix and chill. Oh, and I nicknamed the male genitalia little chap. So that way I in the book, anytime I need to refer to the Netherlands, I refer to little chap. So that's kind of humorous, as several men like to display little chap or hold little chap. Not display like totally no clothes, but wear clothing that kind of accentuated, if you know what I mean, like gray sweats. There was one man, he never centered himself in his pictures. And I also talk about pictures and what are no-goes in the pictures that are posted. I will go through those just briefly. But this particular man, I never saw his face. I'd see like nose down. And then one time I was looking at him because I was so perplexed. And I kept thinking, he needs to learn how to take a selfie. Oh, he knew what he was taking pictures of. Little chap was the focal point. And then I realized, and I was like, oh my gosh, ooh, creepy old man. That's where that one fell. The pictures that we don't want to see in their profile, group pictures. Which one are you? And if every picture is a group picture or with you and somebody else, uh, which one are you? Don't do that. We also don't like women in the picture. Who is that? Is that your ex? Are you dating her? There was actually a guy that scribbled out. I knew this guy. He scribbled out the girl in the picture. The girl was his ex-wife. No kidding. His ex-wife. He posted a picture of himself with his ex-wife with her face scribbled. Oh my goodness. Family pictures? No, you've got a family, but let's not see that. We don't need to see the family. Pet pictures. There's times when guys will go get a pet just because it was like a chick magnet. Also, dead animal pictures. If you like to hunt and fish, that's great. I come from a hunting and fishing family, but we don't need to see all your dead animals. Shirtless pictures. Categories of shirtless pictures. Gym shorts and no shirt. We know you work out fine, great. You don't need to broadcast it. The shirtless pictures at sporting events. Are you still in college? Don't be stupid. That's not attractive. The infamous beside the pool. Now, you don't want to be the weirdo wearing a t-shirt, but you don't need to have all these pictures of yourself shirtless on a boat in the water. Then there was the man who, yeah, he was in the pool and he was on a giant floaty that was a ginormous pink swan. Don't do that. No, that's an automatic left swipe as well. The bait and switch, where they put the pictures, really great picture, but it's of you 15 years ago. Or it's on that rare occasion when you're looking, you've got the angle just right and you look absolutely fantastic, but that's not how you look all the time. Kind of like the old glamour shots. Yeah, don't do that. That's not good. Those are left swipes. Filters off. Guys like to use filters too. And it's like, seriously, no, don't do that. Oh, I mentioned the hands. Hands touching little chap, accentuating little chap, or doing gangsta signs. We don't need to see that. The pictures where they pose in bed. No, there was one guy posed in bed, had big pecs, big tattoo, couldn't see his face, and then he had a kitten on his chest. That was creepy. Ooh, no. Pictures in the bathroom, public bathroom. I know that they have great lights. The mirror, it's tempting. Don't do it. There was one picture of a guy in the bathroom. Somebody was in the stall. You could see feet in the stall behind him. Door was shut. But seriously, know your surroundings. Look at the setting. What's in your background? The smileless, mean mug, you know, resting bitch face. No, that's scary. That scares us. And then if you look pissed off and evil, no, not that. There was one guy, he put a picture of himself. It was red. He made his eyes red and he had devil's horns. That was an automatic left swipe as well. No, don't do that. So creepy pictures, creepy pictures. So we learned from that, ladies. If you are going to go on the apps, make sure that you have up-to-date pictures. Make sure that it is you. Some full length are good. They don't have to all be full length. Watch what you wear. There's a chapter on Dick. Dick was a dick. And then there's 2 chapters on Hank. He's 5 in chapter 16. What was really funny was when I would match with a guy and then I would match with him again later, but he would have a different name but would use the exact same lines, exact same bio and all that, but his opening lines and the conversation, and I played into it until they diverted just a little bit. And I would say, oh, but last week when we matched, your name was, Joe Smith, and you talked about this, that, the other. So which is it? I got left swiped and blocked right away on those. I want to finish up with talking about one match that I had that it's in chapter 6. Chapter 6 is called It's Time to Meet the Men. This chapter is just jam-packed full of men in different categories that they fell into. This particular category I called Scene Stars. This final story is not of the typical super sleuth variety. It didn't take much to recognize this scammer bot, catfisher, was impersonating Vin Diesel. I couldn't help but burst into laughter when this guy right swiped on me. I mean, seriously, what the hell? I thought to myself, this should be a wild ride. His profile pictures were straight from the red carpet, the ones you'd find when you search Vin Diesel. I kid you not, every single picture in his profile showed up in that search. To throw me off his trail, he went by the name Nikado. Seriously, I couldn't resist, so I decided to play along because why not? It's all in good fun, right? He kicked off our conversation with a thumbs up emoji. How charming. I couldn't help but chuckle at the audacity of it all. Little did he know he was about to embark on a roller coaster of hilarity with yours truly. Buckle up, friends, because this is one wild and ridiculous ride. Me. Hey, Nikado, you look so familiar. Have we met before? Nikado. Maybe. I asked where Hamilton, Missouri, population 1,687, was located, and that was a popular place for men to be from for some reason on the apps. I explained that I used to travel with one of my jobs, so maybe that was how I recognized him. I actually knew how I recognized him, his pictures, but I was waiting on him. Nikado. Insert another thumbs up emoji. My name is Vin Diesel from Los Angeles, California. I use a name Nikado because it means twins. That makes zero sense to me, but who am I to question a celebrity? Me. Like in Vin Diesel, the actor? Nikado. Yes, me. No, really? Mikado, yes, of course. Me again. No, dang, what in the world are you doing on this dating app? You have plenty of beautiful women around you in LA. Nikado, yes, of course. I'm a man of humor. I think he meant honor. I have been into relationships here in Los Angeles and didn't work out. That's why I put my location in other states to find, not find, to find a good and honest woman as a friend. Me. That's not very honest. Nakado. Okay, then. I didn't want to end this conversation because it was golden data. A scammer trying to pull off being a famous actor, priceless. So I adjusted, me. But you do state quickly who you are, and you did explain. So that is good. Nikado, I'm very friendly, and I love meeting new friends to learn and know more. That was why I requested your friendship. Hope we can be good friends. I'm an open person. I don't like being proud of who I am or what I have. Beside, I don't discriminate people. We are all one before God. I just a man and also a human like everyone else. Huh? Me. Aw, that is perfectly right. I wish others were like that. Nikado. What's your name and where are you chatting from? It was all in my bio, but bots can't read or comprehend. So I repeated it back to him. Nakado, I was fixing some profile things before I came across your profile, and I felt something in my heart telling me there is something special about you. Me, aw, that is so sweet. Someone famous like you saying such sweet things about a Midwest, middle of nowhere, middle-aged, divorced mom. Insert kissy face emoji. Nakado, age is just a number. I'm diverse, praying to God to show me the right woman who will show me pure and real love and care not for my wealth or status, but for who I am, me. Well, there are a lot of shallow people in the world. That is probably a daily struggle for you. That is where being plain like me pays off. I never struggle with that. I struggle with being noticed. Insert sad face with one tear. Nikado. I was in a relationship with a woman here in the States. Insert US flag, in case I didn't know what the United States was. But I never know she was in love with my best friend on until the day I saw both of them in my friend's house. And I was shocked. Then I realized she was after my money. I thought she loved me, but she made me lose trust in women. Nowadays, relationships are complicated. It even happens to Vin Diesel, y'all. Me. They sure are. They are never what they seem. It makes it so hard. What is a relationship without trust? Mikado. A relationship without trust is nothing. What do you do for a living? Weird that Vin Diesel is concerned about what I do and how much I make. Insert thinking face emoji. I told him what I did for a living. Nikado, okay, that's a good job. Me, my friends are so weird. My friend from California says, no way you are you. She says you aren't being honest. I told her I knew it was you. The pictures are you. And how would you have pictures of you if it wasn't really you? She's just jealous. Nikado, oh, okay. I want you to believe me. Call me on WhatsApp. Anything else you want to know, just drop me a message, or better still, on WhatsApp, my number is, and then he proceeds to list his phone number. Please don't give it to anyone else. And what's yours? And we will take it from there. Me, I don't have WhatsApp. Insert sad face with a tear. Nikado, really? How will you know it is me then? Can you download the app for just both of us? Me, I played it up. Do I have to get a new number or how does it work? Is it like a phone call or is it video? Nikado, it is for chat also. You can register it with your phone number. Just check on your app store, download it. Let me know when you have it done. I'll tell you how you can register with your phone number, okay? Then a bit later, did you get it? Me, no, my phone doesn't have enough space. Nikado, okay. You have an email? I didn't respond. Nagato greeted me the next day. I still didn't respond. Here I was crushing one movie star heart at a time because I was too tired to engage and play to his bullshit. Poor Nakato. He's still waiting. So, what is your takeaway after me just reading a few excerpts from my book? Just know that when going on the apps, a woman has to be 100% aware of what she's getting into, what she wants, what she will tolerate, and she needs to be ready to do a lot of left swipes because, as I mentioned in my book, in the very beginning, I say that I matched or communicated with over 200 men. Now, I didn't talk to every single one of them, but there were only 5 or 6 that would have possibly gotten to a coffee date. But then when I eliminated 2 of them initially from the get-go, Mike and Dick, well, that brings that number down. And eventually, Hank, well, I told him he was exhausting me. He started to display some of the toxic traits that I wasn't going to allow in my life any longer. And we never talked after I told him that he was exhausting. And, I really allowed things to go a little bit too long with him. I should have ended it much sooner than October. Actually, should have been about May, if I'm being totally honest. Now, I'd love for you to get my book and read more about the real life situations with the dating apps. And I think that my book really gives real true life what the playing field of the dating apps looks like. Lots of bots, lots of scammers, lots of catfishers, uh, not a lot of authenticity, people looking for the casual, and it's hard to find somebody who is dateable. And I do think that my book will help you to make a decision whether you do want to venture out onto the apps or not. If you want to put yourself out there. And I do absolutely hate that phrase because we're not a slab of meat putting ourselves out there on the meat trays and the meat counter. And if you do decide after reading my book that you are ready to venture onto the dating apps, and that's the route that you want to go, there is one book that is an absolute must read for you before you get on the dating apps, because it's going to help you to understand the rhetoric that is in the bios and in uh, that when you have to answer questions on the app, it's going to get through all that rhetoric. It's going to tell you what the terminology that they use, what it means. Okay. So the book is called Burn the Haystack by Jenny J. Young, PhD. I'm actually in Jenny's Facebook group. The Facebook group is called the Burnt Haystack Dating Method. What Jenny did, now I got on the apps and I just saw the ridiculousness of it. And I noticed the scammer spots, catfishers. I noticed that there were certain locations that were consistently used. Like I mentioned, Hamilton, Missouri, there's small little towns. Usually they were a widow. They also were very affluent, the occupations that they said that they had. Those are the things that I noticed. And then I would talk to them and I would just kind of call them out on the crap. But what Jenny did is she studied the words that they used in the bio and the rhetoric and what was really meant by it. She was able to identify online dating communication patterns that are red flags. And then those red flags signal women to do what she calls B2B. That means block to burn. You don't give them a left swipe. You don't want that algorithm to bring those men back around. It's a absolutely no. Boom, block them. There are times that she suggests, if you match with somebody and everything looks okay in the bio, it passes, the sniff test, but then you start into a conversation and they display one of the rhetorical patterns that she mentions and that she teaches, it's an automatic block to burn. And you don't have to explain yourself. You just say, we're not a good match, block, period. What that does by doing that block to burn, and you're going to do a lot, where I was doing left swipe, left swipe, left swipe, left swipe, left swipe. Jenny would have done B2B, 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 block to burn. You are training the algorithm to not even feed those type of men to you. Now, some will sneak past the algorithm, it will sometimes sneak one. Oopsie, it will sneak one in there and you just have to do the block to burn. And it takes a long time to find a needle, to find that hidden needle in the haystack. It just depends on if you are willing to be persistent and if it really means that much to you. In Jenny's book, it's a relatively new book. It came out in April of this year, 2026. She spent several years collecting data, just like I did. I was on the dating app for 15 months from 2021, June, July-ish of 2021. I wrote the book and published it in September of 2023. So I had a good solid 2 years of data collection, and she did the same thing. Hers is just a different slant, and it would be very helpful. If I were to ever get on the dating apps again, I would 100% use her method. But personally, I'm the happiest I've been, and I'm not going to risk my joy and my happiness to try to find a needle that I don't even really know that I want. So the proper order for this would be my book first, Right Swipe, A Quest for Love, available on Amazon. After you read that, you decide, yes, I want to go onto the dating apps. Then you're going to get Jenny's book, Burn the Haystack, and read that so that you are informed and you know how to read bios and you know how to decipher through the crap. It takes a lot of effort. Have to figure out, is it worth your effort? Is it worth your time? Over the weekend, I was listening to an interview with a divorce lawyer. Uh, and in the interview, he stated that 86% of the people who get a first divorce, they're married for the first time and they get a divorce, they are remarried within 5 years. That struck me for two reasons. Number one, I will be divorced for 5 years on May 27th, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. I have joy in my life. I have no desire to consider remarriage or even dating. It's just not worth my effort. So I'm part of the 14%. 86% get remarried, 14% me, whoop, whoop, yay me. I'm proud of it. I'm proud to be part of that 14%. Then number two, the thing that also struck me was people, even though they have been through a divorce, and divorce, it's not fun. It's not a walk in the park. It costs money. It's painful. Even though they've gone through that, 86% of them still have a belief in marriage or still have a need for marriage, want to be married. But second marriages, they have an even higher failure rate than first marriages. First marriages, depending upon the source, is 40 to 50% divorce rate. Second marriages, 60 to 67%. Then you get a third marriage, fourth marriage, fifth marriage. There are people who have done that. The rate goes up higher and higher and higher. And that just perplexes me. I don't know that I want to test those odds, but that's just me. It's a lot to consider if you are thinking about dating. If you decide that the apps aren't for you, but you do want to date, where do you meet people? I'm going to tell you two places where I would not go to meet people. I would not go to the bars, and I would not try to meet people in church. It's just me, just my opinion. Those are two places that I would avoid for meeting someone to date, to have a relationship with. What I would suggest is start doing things that you enjoy and being open to creating new friendships, both with men and women. If you create a friendship with a woman and you have like interests, she might have a guy friend that she says, I have a friend. I think that you guys would get along. Would you like me to introduce you? Or you might meet a man at those shared commonalities. I have a friend that she likes to do Harry Potter things. I have friends that like Renaissance festivals. I personally like music. I like the ballet. I like dancing. So those might be places where I would consider being open to meeting new people, both men and women. And that could always lead to meeting someone. I'm not looking for somebody, so I don't go I don't go to those places with that purpose in mind. There's also an app called Meetup, and it's a free app, and you can search the app for places to go in your community and things to do in your community. You might have a book club, you might have an online class, you might have here in the Kansas City area, there's a group that they go out to dinner and they like to go to ethnic places. There's an over 50s group that's for men and women. There are some that are Christian based. Those are different ways to naturally meet people who have similar interests. And I think that would be, if I were dating, that is the route that I would do. I would really be concerned and focused on going and doing things that I enjoy and seeing if I can meet and make new friends. And if you don't find your true love, maybe you've created a bigger circle of friends, new guy friends, new girlfriends. And that's not a bad thing. That's a win. Next week, I am going to do something that I haven't done. I kind of had a little bit of a series, but I wouldn't call my series when we were doing the grounding techniques. Those just kind of built on each other. But this is actually a series. It's going to be a 6-week series. It's going to be called Narcissism 101. And it's going to be understanding all the terminology. People throw around the terms and the terminology, narcissist, gaslighting, love bombing, and a lot of the ways that they use those terms are wrong. I am going to provide some clarity on the terminology, and I'm also going to add a little bit of something. I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. It's going to be kind of fun. In my mind, I haven't figured out how it's going to work. I hope it works the way my mind says it's going to work. But anyway, so that will go along with, that'll be kind of a companion with the terminology. I'm going to hit 2 terms a week. Next week is just going to be an overview, but then the following 5 weeks, 2 terms a week. So we're going to have 10 terms, and they're going to be the most common terms that I have found that are used associated with things that go on in a toxic relationship, things that go on in that high conflict personality relationship, things that go on in a narcissistic relationship. So I think that that will help just to clarify what the terms mean so that we stop calling everybody a narcissist. No, they're just a crappy person. They're just a bad person. But some people are narcissists. And stop using the terminology of that world incorrectly. Not saying, oh, everybody gaslights you. That's not true. So what really is gaslighting, and how can we use that effectively and correctly? So lots going on in the next 6 weeks. I'm hoping that my little idea of what I'm going to do comes off. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be helpful. I hope you've enjoyed today. Please do check out my book. It's available on Amazon. Read it. If you're interested in the dating apps, then go check out Jenny Young's book, Burn the Haystack. Two good reads. And you're going to learn a lot. And until next week, remember, you are not meant to do this alone. Together, we will continue to rise.
Hey, beautiful. Thank you for spending time with me today. And congratulations for showing up for yourself. If today's episode was helpful, share it with a friend and let me know in the comments what resonated most. Your feedback helps me create content that truly matters as we grow this community together. If you haven't already, subscribe and leave a review. It helps this podcast reach more women who need this space. Okay, so here's the deal. You can find me wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. I'll meet you back here next Friday. Until then, remember, you belong here. It's time to rise.